Hello, Abnormal Investigations. I've got another video for you guys, another encounter. Hope you will enjoy it. Today was a good live we had tonight on the breakdown. It was good to see everybody. Um, Boots on the ground, hopefully the 10th coming up for all of you that like Boots on the ground. The 10th at 8:45, as long as we don't flood out. And we're getting rain as we speak, so who knows. Alright guys, let's get into this one. My three friends and I have loved backpacking for years. We don't get out as much as we'd like, but at least twice a year we'll take off into the mountains for a 2-night backpacking trip. Usually, it's just an excuse to feel like cavemen, eating jerky and cooking over a fire. This past summer, I called up Jay and I asked him if he would like to try something new. How about Greater Slave Lake? I asked, knowing he would never say yes if he knew how long of a drive it was. We can hike from the road and camp along the lake. That sounds nice, Jay said. When do you want to go? We arranged the time, and since Jay lived with our other two, or what was it? He lived with our other two friends, A and D, he promised to convince them. 2 weeks later, we got into my truck and took off. Jay had decided that since I didn't tell him how long the drive was, it was my responsibility to provide the transportation, which I was more than happy to do. Hours later, we were talking at a rest stop while stretching our legs and getting some good food out of the back. D said, "Hey guys, have you ever heard of the unexplained creatures up this way?" D was really into that kind of stuff, but none of us really believed in it. "No," A said. "What kind of stuff are they supposed to have?" D continued, "There were a couple of people saying they saw Bigfoot, and the local tribe says that historically there have been a lot of Wendigos in the area." None of us really took it seriously, and soon we were driving again, laughing about how if Bigfoot did come, we'd just make friends with him. When we finally got there, we were getting all of our packs balanced. Jay kept acting jumpy and always looking behind himself. Finally, he just put his back against the truck and scanned the woods. For the record, Jay is an extremely calm person who doesn't really get scared. If we hadn't been talking about the supernatural before coming out, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. I went over to him and I asked, "You alright, bro?" "You're looking a bit uncomfortable." He gave me a weird look and seemed as if he were about to brush it off before reconsidering and giving me a weighing look. "I don't know, man. Ever since we got out of the car, I felt like I have a bullseye on my back. I can't shake the feeling something's watching me." "That's weird," I said, not knowing how to respond. "I haven't noticed anything." At this point, A and D had started listening and came over. "It's probably just the new environment and how far out we are this time," D stated confidently. "I imagine that about 100 squirrels are watching us right now, too," he said with a lopsided smile. Jay laughed it off, and we all took off into the woods, knowing that if we wanted to make the best of our trip, we would have to get at least 1/3 of the way to the lake before setting up camp for the night. That evening, we had all set up our sleeping gear and started a small fire. We were sitting around and joking about how badly A was burning his hot dogs. He's a really good sport and was saying how much more he enjoyed them with a nice crunchy outside. As we were laughing, suddenly Jay went very quiet and told everybody to shut up. I personally hate being told to shut up, and I was about to keep talking out of spite when I noticed it too. The woods had gone dead silent. Other than the crackling of the fire, we couldn't hear anything. Usually, this wouldn't be weird in the woods. That evening, we had all set up our sleeping gear and started a small fire. As we were sitting there, usually we would talk a lot, but that wasn't the case here. We had been hearing the usual nightlife, crickets, some birds, frogs, the occasional coyote, but there wasn't even the sound of the wind. It really freaked us all out, and we just sat there in the silence for minutes, straining our ears. It was like all of our survival instincts kicked in, and we were like the deer when they are trying to detect predators. After a while, I started to calm down and took a look around the fire. I saw a frozen with his mouth. Okay, I saw a frozen with his mouth open, and the hot dog 6 inches from his mouth, and couldn't help but smile and laugh out loud, thinking about how long he had been holding it like that. Everyone else laughed too, as soon as they understood what I was looking at. And it was like a release from tension from the last few minutes. Pretty soon, we had all forgotten the events moments before. We went back to our normal joking and our normal conversation. The next morning, as we were packing up, Dee was walking to the background. He was telling us about his dream from the night before. It was like I saw the camp from the trees, he said, excitedly, with the twigs of fear in his voice. I could see all of us sitting there, and then the next second I was running into the woods, moving faster as I think is even possible. A and I studied him for a second and looked at each other. We didn't want to say it, but it seemed like he was trying to scare us. I could tell A thought the same thing. We didn't really talk about supernatural stuff for the rest of the hike. If you've ever had someone try to scare you and do a bad job of it, you'll understand how A and I felt. We were annoyed. We didn't believe in supernatural stuff before this, and it was almost insulting to have D try to scare us now. By the time we got to the camp, everything had settled down. It was about 6 p.m. and the sun was still pretty high, as it is always in Canada during the summer. The water was beautiful, and we had found the perfect spot for our camp, right on the side of the forest, looking out over the water, right into the sunset. Jay had brought the backpacking fishing rod, and we were trying our luck with the 2 lures he had brought. Honestly, it was so surreal, the beautifulness that surrounded us. We would probably still be going out there to this day if what happened wouldn't have happened. The plan was to spend 2 nights there and then hike all the way back in one day, because we'd be able to get an early start. So we were all expecting to be able to rest our legs after a long hike today. Jay and I asked the other guys if they would be willing to make us some food while we went swimming, and they agreed. We didn't go very deep, but the water was so beautiful and warm that we spent a lot of time there until it was almost sundown. We got out and joined the other guys at the fire. Later that night, it was hard to tell how long, but quite a while after sundown, Dee had gotten up to go to the bathroom. Nobody really noticed him go, but we heard a scream coming from the forest, followed by loud swearing, and Dee come running back into camp. "Guys, what the?" he said, obviously very distressed. "Did you guys see that?" None of us had been looking in the direction, and he had wandered a bit into the woods. "I saw something in the trees. I heard a sound and shone my flashlight up and saw these eyes staring at me from the trees. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was shaken at this point, but my mind went to a moose. It's all right, Jay. It was probably nothing. Let's go check it out and make sure." Dee shook his head vigorously and stammered, "There's no way I'm leaving this fire." It was at least 7 foot tall. "It's okay," I said, trying to stay calm. "The rest of us will go see what it is." I grabbed my flashlight out of my backpack and I looked at him. "You should not go out there, and there's no way I'm staying at the fire alone." After some talking, it was decided that Jay and I would go, leaving Dee and Adam at the fire. Dee didn't want any of us to go, but it was pretty confident that with my flashlight, we would be fine. My flashlight was like 80,000 lumens, and it could light up an entire football field on its own. Jay and I slowly walked into the woods, trying to follow Dee's direction. We did notice again that the woods had gone completely silent, but even with my high-powered flashlight, we didn't see anything, not even any animals. When we went back, Dee had calmed down quite a bit. We stood there talking for a bit. Then, on one side of the fire, we were sitting on one side of the fire. Something caught my eye slightly above them, over to the side. I flicked my flashlight on, and there it was. What must have only been a few seconds. I saw something with broken deer antlers. Maybe horns, I couldn't tell. What looked like a deer head, but kind of like a goat's. But the snout was way too long, and probably about 8 feet tall. The crystal clear the way I saw this thing. fully illuminated by my light. My light was so bright and it was so clear. I don't think I would ever have expected it. It looked differently. It was so weird looking. As soon as Jay made a half scream, half choking sound and fell back, my brain just shut off. I made an attempt to run backwards and fell on my back hard. I scrambled around trying to get up, but the sudden darkness and the commotion of whatever else was going on in the camp disoriented me even further. I called out to my friends, "What's going on?" But they didn't respond. I finally got to my feet and I saw that everyone was backing away from the campsite, eyes fixed on something behind me. I turned around, but there was nothing there, and that's when I noticed a creature standing at the edge of the forest, about 20 feet from us. It was tall, skinny, with long fingers and sharp claws. Its eyes were yellow, glowing from the flashlight, and it was standing in the darkness. It was as dark as the blackness. We all turned and ran, grabbing our backpacks and essential gear as we went. Dee was limping badly, so Jay and I helped him along, taking turns supporting his weight. As we ran, we heard strange noises all around us, twigs snapping, leaves rustling, the voices whispering in the woods. It sounded like the creature was mimicking our voices, and it was getting closer and closer. At one point, I heard my own voice laughing like a maniac, and it sent chills all over me. I tried to focus on getting us out of there as fast as possible. We finally reached the trailhead and didn't stop running until we were back at the truck. We didn't say a word to each other until we were safely inside doors, locked and driving away from the lake. We finally spoke, and it was to relieve the experience and to try to make sense of what had just happened. We all agreed that what we had seen was something abnormal. Something that resembled a werewolf or a goat man. Not quite sure. We've talked about it a few times since then, but we still are not sure what this creature is. I have no idea what this was, but I know it was human. It had the pecs of a human, the stomach of a human, the legs almost of a human, but the legs were hairier than the rest of the body. It was weird. I'm not sure what we saw that night, Mike, but I will say one thing. When you go off into the Ozarks, there's no telling what you're going to run into. You know, I couldn't believe that y'all took such a far trip, especially being the Ozarks, in without a weapon. No way I would have done that, not even as a kid. I mean, I done some dumb things. We would walk, me and my cousin, 2 miles, play in the woods, but we always had something with us, a 22 there was times we didn't have guns and wasn't a smart thing to do, but to go that far in knowing you're going to stay the night, we would go during the daytime, and when we would go at night, we had a gun. We were country boys. We always had a gun. I would never recommend guys going camping, especially that far in somewhere, without a weapon to be able to defend yourself, because not just with cryptids, you have other predators out there, and like your friend getting hurt and stuff, that just makes him more of an opportunity for something. So I'm glad y'all made it out of there. It sounds to me like you had a run-in with it's hard to tell, a dog man, or what some people would call the goat man, maybe a googway, I'm not sure. But I'm glad y'all at least made it out of there, and thank you for sharing your story. And thank you, everybody, for listening to all my subscribers. And until next time, guys, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner, and we'll see you the 10th and one more day, guys, for a Boots on the Ground. If it's not too flooded. If it's flooded, we'll do another breakdown.
Afraid of the dark? Are you scared?